This morning, a war of words between former Representative Paul Ryan and President Trump. We'll show you what the president had to say about the former speaker's comments in a new book coming out next week.
And your scones are being replaced with sculptures, your hot and spicy cheese bread with handmade clothes here on the square this weekend. Art Fair on the Square is back, and we have a preview just ahead.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now This Morning.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. It is July 12th. Christina may be talking about that hot and spicy cheese bread, and we're going to be talking about hot and spicy weather.
Ooh, good segue there.
Yeah, it definitely is. Heating up around here.
Yeah.
An extended heat wave is headed our way. Highs will be in the 90s starting on Sunday. We're not in the 90s today, but coming pretty close. Here's a live look from the WISC-TV Skycam. Sun is up this morning. Skies are clear. It's actually pretty comfortable outside this morning. 58 here in Madison. Down a few degrees in the Dells now to 55, 59 in Janesville. Still holding on to 61 though from Boscobel down to Monroe. These temperatures are as cool as we're going to see for the next 10 days. Yeah, it's going to be an extended stretch of pretty warm stuff. 85 degrees is the high today, thanks to a southwesterly wind and lots of sunshine. Let's check those traffic maps. We'll see if anything has changed over the last 30 minutes. Still looking pretty quiet on the Beltline, but you are starting to see a few brake lights show up right around Stoughton Road in the Beltline. No other delays, though. Looking out around Dane County, looks like travel is still going at posted speeds on the interstate.
Something we're going to have to keep an eye out for over the next couple of days too is pavement buckling.
Yeah, that tends to happen when it starts to get so hot, and we have several days, so not even really cooling down at night.
Yeesh. All right, thank you, Hattie.
You're welcome.
New this morning, President Trump is blasting former Speaker of the House Paul Ryan. This after excerpts from the political reporter Tim Alberta's new book, American Carnage, were released, where Ryan calls out President Trump. According to the Washington Post, Ryan says, quote, "I told myself I gotta have a relationship with this guy to help him get his mind right because I'm telling you, he didn't know anything about the government and I wanted to scold him all the time." The excerpt also notes that once Ryan learned about the Access Hollywood tapes where Trump can be heard degrading women, he, quote, demanded that the National Party take action to excommunicate Trump. Trump fired back at Ryan hours later through a series of tweets saying Ryan has an atrocious record of achievement and was a lame duck failure. He didn't always feel like that, though. In a tweet from April of last year when Ryan announced his retirement, Trump said that Ryan is a good man, leaving a legacy of achievement that nobody can question, adding, "We are with you, Paul."
Speaking of the president, he will be in Wisconsin later today for a fundraiser over in Milwaukee. This marks his second trip to our state so far this year. The visit comes after the president decided yesterday to drop the fight for a citizenship question to the 2020 census. Instead, he is taking new executive action that will require agencies to hand over that information to the Department of Commerce. The Supreme Court had blocked the question from the census 2 weeks ago, saying the government would need a better justification to add it.
With another round of ICE raids expected to start this weekend, immigration is taking center stage in the early parts of the presidential campaign. 4 Democratic candidates took part in a presidential town hall yesterday in Milwaukee. Julian Castro, Beto O'Rourke, Elizabeth Warren, and Bernie Sanders were all asked about their thoughts on what is happening at the border and how the country should handle immigration.
You have a heart, whether you're in Wisconsin or you're in Texas or California or Iowa or no matter where you are. You know that that's wrong.
To remove criminal prosecution as a consequence for doing what any human would do. We will reserve criminal prosecution for anyone who poses a threat to the safety and the security of this country.
I had a meeting with some folks here in Milwaukee. I've seen a young person come up with tears in her eyes talking about her fears as an undocumented person.
No great nation tears families apart. No great nation locks up children. And that's critical.
Wisconsin is expected to be a frequent stop for presidential candidates in the next year ahead of the Democratic National Convention being held in Milwaukee in 2020.
Breaking news into the Channel 3000 Alert Center overnight. R. Kelly is in jail this morning after being indicted on 13 federal counts. Those include several new sex crime charges. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office, the new charges include child pornography, enticement of a minor, and obstruction of justice. The singer was arrested as he was walking his dog outside his Chicago apartment last night. It's the second time this year he's been arrested on sex charges. More local news breaking into the Channel 3000 Alert Center this morning. The State Journal is reporting that Edgewood High School cannot use its newly installed football field and track to host games under city law. A city committee had voted 4-0 to deny the high school's request to reconsider whether it could violate ordinance to host those games. That meeting last night took 5 hours and included upwards of 200 community members.
Right now, Madison Police Chief Mike Koval says he's cutting a quarter of the officers in community engagement programs and moving them to traditional patrols next year. According to the chief's blog, the department is short 31 patrol officers, and the 12 officers being moved will help with that. The proposed 2020 city budget only adds 1 patrol officer and a detective and also a civilian employee.
We are hearing more from the Madison School District about why one of its high schools will be providing free condoms. As we first told you yesterday morning, starting on the first day of school, kids at West High will be able to get condoms from the nurse for free. The first time they ask for some, it will come with a refresher on sex ed, including topics of reproductive health and consent. District health workers say they have seen STI rates climb every year, and this is their chance to combat that.
We've been thinking about doing a program like this for several years, and then with the increase in the number of young people with STIs or sexually transmitted infections, we decided it was time to begin.
The condoms are donated from outside agency partners, and since there are already nurses at those schools, it doesn't cost the district anything to add the program. Madison says it will assess the pilot program at the end of the school year based on parent and student reaction. All right, 6:07 on this Friday morning. One of Madison's most popular outdoor celebrations is returning to the square this weekend for its 61st year.
Art Fair on the Square is back, and this morning, Christina Laurie is getting a preview of what we can expect. Hi, Christina.
Good morning, Josh and Leah. You won't find your typical farmers market vendors out here on the square this weekend, but that doesn't mean it won't be any less crowded. Back to talk about Art Fair on the Square is Erica from the Madison Museum of Contemporary Art. Thanks for sticking out here with us.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So there's a lot of Wisconsin vendors at this year's fair. Who's here?
So we will have food vendors that are local. We also have usually 25 to a third of the artists are all new every single year, and we'll have a lot of artists from Madison and from Wisconsin. So there's a great representation of high quality artists and artwork from people right around here and from across the country.
So let's talk about the best times to go to the art fair. It runs both tomorrow and Sunday. Are there like times when it's less busy, most busy?
Yeah, there are always times that it's less busy. So mornings are a great time for people to come down if they want to avoid the heat or don't like to have that bustling vibe when they're walking around the square, and also later in the day. So Sunday afternoon is a great time, Saturday evening is a great time. So we really do have kind of peaks right in the middle of the day. So if you like to have that kind of like I'm downtown and it's happening and it's happening everywhere, then middle of the day is perfect for you.
But if you wait until Sunday, is there any downside? Will you miss out on any good artwork?
Well, the artists really do come prepared to show art all weekend. So certainly there are some who want to be here Saturday morning. They want to have the first pick and they want to see what the artists bring. They want to be the first in the booths. But Sunday afternoon and even into early evening on Sunday, there's still really a lot to see. There's a wide variety. And artists, they're always bringing out new work. If they sell something, they replace it with something that they've brought along with them. So you really do see full booths, all throughout the fair.
After 61 years, this is certainly a well-oiled machine.
Exactly.
200,000 people expected here on the square this weekend. And if you come out here tomorrow morning and you're expecting to see those typical farmers market vendors, don't worry, you just head down the road, down East Washington. They'll be all situated at Breeze Stevens Field. So I know, Josh and Leah, you are concerned about me that I won't be getting my scones, hot spicy cheese bread, but don't worry, I can still get them.
We have faith in you, Christina.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
There always is.
Priorities.
Christina Laurie live on the square this morning. Christina, thank you.
All right, still ahead this morning. Uber drivers never know totally what they're in store for when they pick up a passenger. Well, our Will Loper is in the preview of movies with one driver who finds himself in way over his head.
And it'll be a kind of weekend where you'll probably want to hang out in an air-conditioned movie theater. Hattie's talking about a full week of heat indices in the upper 90s to triple digits. That's coming up in her first alert forecast. You're watching News 3.
Good morning from the Hattie-O patio. A nice comfortable start this morning. Enjoy these temperatures in the 50s because they're not going to last long, and we're not going to see 50s for at least the next 10 days. An extended stretch of hot weather is headed our way. We're headed to highs in the 90s starting on Sunday, and then we'll stay in the 90s all week. If there ever was a pool forecast, this is it. Temperatures will be well above normal for the next 10 days. Here's a look at weather track this morning. Skies are clear, not a cloud in the sky here, but there is a little bit of cloud cover to the north and west, and also a little bit of rain. That's all ahead of a cold front that will be making its way through the Badger State as we go through the day today. So there is a chance for some showers and thunderstorms starting this morning in northern Wisconsin, slowly making its way southward through the day. In between, though, we have a lot of sunshine in our forecast. 58 right now in Madison. It is a little warmer to the west. We're seeing 60s across Iowa and Minnesota, 66 in Des Moines. We have actually 70 degrees right now in Minneapolis. A closer look at southern Wisconsin, and you'll see more 50s on the map than 60s. 59 in Janesville, down to 54 in Watertown, 55 in the Dells, 59 in Prairie du Chien. Now, if you're headed out early today, it's not going to stay cool for very long. Temperatures are going to warm up pretty quickly. Dew points are in the 50s, but they're expected to climb a little bit today. Noticeable humidity later on this afternoon with those dew points getting back into the lower 60s. Heat index isn't going to be too unbearable, though. It'll just be a couple of degrees warmer than the temperatures this afternoon. Here's a look at your future track forecast model. Enjoy the sunshine today. Temperatures will already be back to 80 by lunchtime, headed to highs in the mid 80s this afternoon. A couple of degrees warmer than yesterday. There is that cold front moving through tonight, and by 8 o'clock, it starts to just approach our northern viewing area. So there will be a chance for showers or even a few rumbles of thunder north of Madison. The rain will likely weaken as it moves into southern Wisconsin, but still a chance here in Madison that we'll see a little bit of rain overnight. Your extended forecast has temperatures in the 90s again starting on Sunday. 8 alert days are in the forecast for that high heat and humidity. There will be some chances for rain through the middle of the week. A lot depends on what happens with Tropical Storm Barry. Otherwise, the big weather story, though, is that heat and humidity. No relief even during the overnight hours, with nighttime lows staying in the 70s. Let's get a look at your first alert traffic maps this morning. Josh Tim has all the details. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning. No delays showing up yet on the Beltline. So far, things are moving well for the early commuters. Other roads here in Dane County not looking too bad. Just some of the usual brake lights once again on Verona Road and Stoughton Road as you approach the Beltline ramps. No delays downtown around the Capitol Square and on campus. Plan on things getting busier over the next hour or two. And other main routes, including the interstate heading into Madison, cruising along at the usual speeds. With your first alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thank you, Josh and Hattie. This weekend in theaters, we are taking the Uber trip of a lifetime.
The buddy action comedy between a cop and an Uber driver is called Stuber. And here with a preview is our film critic, Will Loper. Hi.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, you know, by sure, we've all collected stories of crazy Uber experiences or creepy drivers, but something tells me that nothing we've experienced will quite top what happens in this movie. Take a look.
Uber?
Yeah. Be cool, be nice. To do. How do you do?
Compton. LAPD. Let's go.
Well, do you have a more specific address?
Compton!
Stop yelling neighborhoods. That's not how Uber works.
An Uber driver picks up a passenger who turns out to be a cop in pursuit of a criminal. And the Uber driver goes along for the ride.
You're scared of this dude, and I love it!
How do you know my dad?
I got an idea! I'm gonna put this propane tank at them! You shoot it and blow up their car!
He kidnapped me.
Doesn't freaking Jaws?
Exactly! Just like Jaws, it's gonna work! Ready? Go!
Stuber is rated R.
I got this. Hello, operator? We need help. Someone's trying to murder us. Hello, operator? We need help. Someone's trying to murder us.
That looks good.
I think it looks really funny. Reviews have not been kind, though, which makes me sad. But Kumail and Dave Bautista, ex-pro wrestler, pulling a rock, trying to kickstart his acting career, they work great together, but I guess the action and the comedy, they say, don't mesh very well.
You like Kumail. I'm actually secretly a big fan of WWE stars.
Oh,
I might watch this.
You're all on board here for this,
I'm diverse. What can I say? Well-rounded.
You got it all. Country music, wrestling.
I try. You are gone Monday.
Yes, I won't be here. No, but next week I'll be back.
All right. Have a good time off.
Thank you, guys.
Good to see you, Will.
Good to see you, Will.
Still ahead for us, states along the Gulf Coast are bracing for the first tropical storm of the year. Our Chris Reese is in this morning to track the storm for us and how it could affect Wisconsin down the road.
While the South deals with that hurricane threat, we are looking at some dangerous heat here in southern Wisconsin. Hattie's updating our forecast. That's when News 3 Now This Morning returns. Welcome back, 6:21 on your Friday. Boy, is it a pool day, folks. It's gonna get pretty hot and steamy out there, right?
Yeah, no one in the pool right now at the Zoo, but we're keeping our eye on it. Yeah,
Barrett didn't get the memo.
I'm sure.
He'll be in there.
Yeah, give him 5 minutes. He'll be back. It is definitely a pool forecast. You're right. Temperatures are heating up across southern Wisconsin. Here's a live look from the Edgewater Skycam out over Lake Mendota towards the Memorial Union. I'm sure the lake is going to be a very busy place over the coming weekend and right into next week. Temperatures this morning are in the 50s in many locations, up to 56 now in the Dells. The same in Lone Rock, 58 here in Madison. A few 60s on the map through southwestern Wisconsin, but overall, a nice, comfortable start to the day. Dew points are in the 50s as well, and even through the lunch hour, staying pretty comfortable. As we head into the afternoon, humidity levels increase just a little bit with those dew point numbers climbing back into the lower 60s. Take a look at your future track forecast model with temperatures starting at 10:30 this morning, already well into the 70s across southern Wisconsin. We'll heat up from there, closing in on 80 by lunchtime. Sunshine through the afternoon with high temperatures in the mid-80s in many locations. 85 in Camp Douglas. If you're headed to the Dells today, great day at the water park, 84 degrees. There will be some chances for rain, but not until after dark tonight. Temperatures will stay quite mild through the afternoon and evening. Here's our chance for a thunderstorm overnight tonight into Saturday. Otherwise, many alert days are in the forecast starting on Sunday for those highs in the 90s.
You are taking a live look right now at Bourbon Street in New Orleans this morning. This is what could become the first hurricane of the season bearing down on the Gulf Coast.
People sheltering in place there. Not a lot of action out on the street. Chris Reese is with us this morning to help track Tropical Storm Barry.
That's right, guys. And one of the other things that New Orleans dealt with earlier this week was flash flooding from the heavy rain. So the water levels there already high. This could be a pretty dire situation for them. But hurricane warnings and tropical storm warnings from the Big Easy all the way over towards Lake Charles, up throughout Alexandria and Baton Rouge, throughout parts of southeastern Louisiana. But when you watch this storm, here's that center of circulation just offshore from southeastern Louisiana as we speak. A lot of cloud cover. The radar doesn't look all that impressive at the moment, at least. That's because a lot of the showers and thunderstorms associated with Barry are actually out of view from the radar. So we look at a different tool. This is known as infrared satellite. This shows us the cloud tops, where you see those higher, darker colored cloud tops where the blacks are starting to show up. This is where you have the taller thunderstorms that are developing. These are where your stronger thunderstorms will be as well. So you can see that a lot of the thunderstorm activity is starting to blossom up on the southern side of that center of circulation. That'll begin to spin towards the eastern side of the storm as we go through time. In fact, let's put this into motion. This is future track just going through tomorrow morning, 4 a.m. That center of circulation still slightly offshore, but watch the movement as the heavy rains begin to move north into southeastern Louisiana from Tropical Storm Barry, and that will likely bring a lot of rain to a lot of folks as the overall track of the storm begins to move towards the north as well. It'll likely stay a tropical storm until reaching southern Arkansas, eventually weakening as it works its way up through the Ohio Valley, but a lot of rainfall will come down where this storm impacts as well. Check it out. We're talking upwards of nearly 20 inches of rain over New Orleans. That would be worst case scenario. Hopefully this storm can trend a little bit drier than that, but even still, heavy rain throughout parts of Mississippi and Alabama. Southwestern Tennessee will get in on heavy rain, and even parts of Kentucky will likely see heavy rain as the remnants of Barry continue to move towards the north. So you'll hear a lot about the high water coming up. But the other thing that's going to impact a lot of folks, including us here in Wisconsin, could be gas prices. All of these red dots are individual oil or gas rigs over the Gulf Coast. A lot of those aren't in production right now. So this means across the country, we will likely see an uptick in gas prices as we go through the next couple of days before they can get that oil production back in place.
I still can't believe the rainfall that is expected down there.
Yeah, 20 inches of rain is half a year's worth of rain for some folks, and in other parts of the country that could be a year's worth of rain, just depending on where you are. So we're certainly going to be paying very close attention to this.
All right, Chris, thank you.
My pleasure.
Time right now is 6:26. We have the top 3 things you need to know this morning before you head out the door.
Plus, if you have noticed it's taking longer for your mail to show up at the door, there's a reason for that. We'll explain coming up on News 3 Now this morning.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning, folks, and happy Friday. It is July 12th, and we are in store for a stretch of really hot, steamy weather coming our way.
I'm not ready for this. Hattie, I'm not ready.
Ready or not, here it comes.
I know. Well, you'll prepare us for all of that heat and humidity coming up in your forecast in just a little bit. But first, let's get to the top 3 things you need to know this morning. President Trump is blasting former Speaker of the House Paul Ryan after excerpts from the political reporter Tim Alberta's new book, American Carnage, were released in the book. Ryan calls out President Trump, saying Trump, quote, doesn't know anything about politics, and at one point urged the party to excommunicate Trump before the election. Trump's tweets attacking Ryan call him a lame duck failure and say he has an atrocious record of achievement.
The second story we're following this morning. ICE is scheduled to begin more raids this weekend. President Trump had originally called those raids off, but the operation is slated to start this Sunday. Here in Madison, police have said they will assist ICE in deportations for known criminals, as they've done in the past.
Rounding out the top 3 this morning, the town of Spring Green is taking back their recommendation of approval for a kennel that would breed and sell beagles for medical testing. The main concerns brought up in yesterday's meeting were about the environment and how the dog waste would affect the air, water, and land. Owner Clint Kane respectively declined an interview with News 3 Now, but says he agrees with the town's process.
Those are the top 3 things you need to know to start your Friday. Hattie has the weather and traffic you need to know. Hey there, Hads.
Good morning, Lee and Josh. Yeah, watching the weather conditions this weekend, things are really going to heat up across southern Wisconsin. Actually, a nice start this morning. The Queen Bee Radio Skycam in Platteville shows you clear skies. Sun is already up. We have temperatures that are at 60 in Platteville. A little bit cooler here in Madison and points to the east with temperatures in the 50s this morning. This is the last time we'll be in the 50s for the next 10 days. Dew points are in the 50s as well. They'll be climbing just a little bit today. As you head out the door, plan on a warmer day than yesterday. Highs will reach 84 this afternoon with a pretty rapid warm up through the morning hours. Our forecast or our travel maps this morning will show you what's happening on the roads. Just a few brake lights showing up on Stoughton Road and the Beltline. Otherwise, no major delays right now. I did look around the area. There aren't any accidents or anything really happening to slow you down at this hour. And that's your First Alert traffic.
Thank you very much, Hattie. Breaking into the Channel 3000 Alert Center right now, the U.S. Geological Survey says a 4.6 magnitude earthquake has hit Washington state. It was followed by a 3.5 magnitude aftershock about 30 miles outside of Seattle. There were no immediate reports of damage or injuries. We will, of course, continue to follow developments as this story unfolds. More local news this morning. You will not find the usual suspects around the Capitol Square tomorrow, but that doesn't mean it's going to be any less busy.
The Madison Museum of Contemporary Art's annual art fair on the square is back, and Christina Laurie joins us live this morning with what you need to know before you go. Hi, Christina.
Hi, Josh and Leah. More than 500 artists and upwards of 200,000 Madisonians will be out here on the square this weekend, not for the farmers market, but for art fair on the square. Back to talk about that is Erica from the Madison Museum of Contemporary Art. So this is not just a boost for local artists, it's also a boost for the local economy.
That's really true because there are $25 million spent in the Madison area over the course of the weekend, and that's outside of what is spent at Art Fair on the Square. So that's restaurants, coffee shops, parking, hotels. There's a lot of people that come downtown, and it really is a big boost for the economy.
And if you come down here specifically for Art Fair on the Square, can we just do a quick overview of what people can expect?
Sure. So there are going to be, as you said, nearly 500 artists arranged around the square and on the 100 block of State Street. And what's great about it is that you can see all kinds of art. You can see abstract art, you can see traditional portraiture, giant sculptures, earrings, photography, and it's all very high quality and wide-ranging prices. So it's really something for everyone.
And this is fun for all of us. It's a fundraiser for your museum. Where will this money go toward programs for the next year?
So it is really important for the museum, the Madison Museum of Contemporary Art. This is our biggest fundraiser of the year, and we connect people with the transformative power of art all around the year. So the museum admission is free. We have exhibitions you can walk into the museum and enjoy for 5 minutes or 5 hours. Plus we do a lot of education programming. So we partner with the school district. We have Art Cart on the road right now, popping up at 60 plus locations around Dane County. So there's a lot that this event supports and helps the museum do.
Thank you so much for talking to us, Erica. And as money is cut to art programs across schools, what the Madison Museum of Art does is so important. That's why it's important you come out here to the square. You can buy some artwork. Their art is priced for any price point, so you can find something low or high. Josh and Leah.
And we know Christina's going to be wandering around with that hot and spicy cheese bread in one hand, an art purchase in the other. Am I right, Christina?
Yes, you are, but I'm going to have to walk a little farther for that hot and spicy cheese bread. It's a couple blocks down by Bree Stevens Field, but you can still get your entire farmer's market fix, typical market hours.
Getting your workout in early.
Downtown's going to be hustling and bustling this weekend.
Yeah, it is. Christina Laurie reporting for us this morning. Thank you, Christina.
In other headlines this morning, a Madison USPS worker says if you've noticed that your mail is arriving later than it normally should, it's because of a staffing shortage. They said it's been going on for a while now. Many of the mail carriers are taking on 70-hour weeks at times. USPS said in a statement that they recently had a job fair to fill some of those vacancies.
Looking ahead, some of those Amazon workers are planning a labor strike on Prime Day. According to Bloomberg, the 6-hour work stoppage will happen on July 15th at Amazon's Minnesota facility. The workers want better pay and working conditions, but Amazon says it already offers, quote, competitive hourly rates with benefits. Amazon Prime Day is scheduled for both July 15th and 16th this year.
6:36, developing right now. Singer R. Kelly is behind bars again this morning as new charges are being brought against him. We'll have the latest details in the morning sprint.
But first, if you're planning the weekend with the family, you're going to want to make sure you're staying cool. We have a look at what's happening this weekend in the 608. That's when News 3 Now This Morning returns.
Welcome back at 6:39. We've been asking you to share your morning with us, and Julie is giving us a view of the Capitol this morning.
Absolutely gorgeous shot, even though there are some clouds. Ooh, looks like our director, Sue, did not like the cloud view. Don't worry, Sue, we do have sun coming today.
All right, if you've got a picture you'd like to share with us, you can post it to our Channel 3000 social media pages using the hashtag MyNews3Morning.
All right, you'll get your own views of the Capitol if you're headed to Art Fair on the Square this weekend, but it's not the only thing going on in the 608.
Here's a look at what else is happening around Madison. Lafette Day Marquette runs through Sunday at McPike Park, just north of Willie Street. There is plenty of food, drinks, and music for the whole family to enjoy. Today's events run from 4 to 11. Tomorrow's hours are 11 to 11, and Sunday runs 10 to 10. And it is free all weekend. Good news there.
That looks so fun. Also, playing a handful of stand-up shows tonight through tomorrow night is the very funny Ron Funches. You may have seen him on TV sitcoms Curb Your Enthusiasm and Blackish, or maybe you heard him voicing characters on the animated shows Bob's Burgers and Adventure Time. You can see Funches live on his Merriment Marauder tour and hear his signature infectious giggle.
As always, you can get this month's Madison magazine for all of the best in the Madison area.
Always lots of stuff going on. All right, you might want to make sure your weekend plans involve sunscreen and air conditioning because Hattie has a stretch of alert days starting this weekend due to that heat and humidity. Whoo, it's a pool day, folks. She's in next with your first alert forecast.
I see some ripples there, but I don't see the polar bears. But first, it is July 12th, and we want to say happy birthday to Ronan and all the other kiddos turning 3 today. Thanks for celebrating with us first on News 3 Now this morning.
Feel the heat, Josh?
Oh, I can feel it.
Here it comes. Today is not going to be so bad, folks. Gorgeous, gorgeous day. Not a cloud in the sky right now, but the heat and humidity is coming right around the corner.
We were waiting for her for a very, very long time, and she is really going to be coming in hot next week there, Hads.
That's true. Yeah, remember in May and June when we thought this was going to be the year without a summer? Well, not the case. We are definitely breaking into some real summertime heat and humidity. Take a look at the high temperature trend over the next 10 days, definitely upward this weekend. Once we hit 90 on Sunday, we stay in the 90s for the rest of next week, all the way through next weekend. That's about 10 degrees above normal for this time of the year. With all that heat in the area, humidity will be high, so heat index will be even warmer into the triple digits at times. So alert days are in the forecast starting on Sunday through the next Sunday. The big weather story will be the heat and humidity. There will be slight chances for showers and thunderstorms through the middle of the week. A lot of that depends on what's happening with Tropical Storm Barry. Now, here's a look at Barry. Tropical Storm Barry again in the Gulf to our south. A little bit of rain showing up in parts of Louisiana, but those rain showers and thunderstorms will continue to move northward through the day today. The storm is expected to make landfall overnight tonight, so getting very wet along the Gulf Coast. Here in the northern part of the state, things pretty quiet. There's a little bit of rainfall to our north and west. That's along a cold front that will bring a chance for rain to southern Wisconsin, but not until overnight tonight. No flight delays in any of the major airports across the country. Again, along the Gulf Coast states, expect delays to start to add up a little bit later on today. Travel weather is, of course, very wet through Louisiana all the way into Florida. Drying out for the mid-Atlantic states as well as New England. Very dry weather from the Great Lakes all the way to the West Coast, though. A lot of sun on that travel map. 100 in Salt Lake City today, 111 in Phoenix. So if we think this is hot, they have temperatures that are about 20 degrees warmer. 85 here in Madison today with a lot of sunshine, so a nice summer-like day for us. Here's that cold front on the map. Again, well off to our north and west. It will bring a chance for rain as it sinks southward through the area, but that happens after midnight. Our current temperatures are a little bit warmer west of Wisconsin this morning. 66 in Des Moines. Sioux Falls is at 68. Minneapolis is still at 70 degrees. Here in southern Wisconsin, you're seeing more 50s on the map. Pretty comfortable. 58 in Lone Rock, 57 in the Dells, 58 in Madison. Monroe, though, is up a degree to 62. Dew points are going to climb a little bit back into the 60s today, so you'll start to notice a bit of that humidity. Your future track forecast model calls for a pretty quick warm up this morning. We'll be around 80 by lunchtime, then headed to highs in the mid 80s with a southwesterly wind. By this evening, here's 8 o'clock, you start to see some of that rain move into our northern viewing area. As that front sinks southward, you may hear a few rumbles of thunder, mainly north of Dane County. Showers possible overnight tonight. Not as good of a chance, though, here across the far southern part of the state. Here's a look at your extended forecast. Unfortunately, that chance for rain can't rule out a few showers and thunderstorms on Saturday. Otherwise, the big weather story is the heat and humidity. Temperatures right around 90 degrees on Sunday and then into the low 90s through all of next week. Again, there are those alert days in the forecast.
Oreo.
Here's our Pet Walk forecast. Oreo is actually on a walk, it looks like, in Poinette. What a cool picture.
He looks so sage, like he's doing yoga.
Maybe.
Namaste, Oreo. Namaste. I just want an Oreo now, too.
Namaste in the air conditioning.
Thanks, Addie.
You're welcome.
Stay with us. The Morning Sprint is up next on News 3 Now this morning. But first, here's what Anthony Mason has next ahead at the top of the hour.
Good morning ahead on CBS this morning. Tropical storm Barry is gaining strength, a dangerous threat as millions along the Gulf Coast prepare for the storm to potentially make landfall tonight. Plus, a rare glimpse at the largest collection of moon rocks. We take you inside a NASA research vault and hear from an astronaut who brought back samples. We'll see you at 7.
6:51, time for the morning sprint as we get you ready for your weekend on this Friday with more local news than anyone else.
Hattie has a steamy extended forecast ahead for us, but we start this morning in Washington. That's where President Trump is criticizing Wisconsin native and former Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, after quotes from Ryan in an upcoming book were released. In that book, American Carnage, Ryan is quoted as saying the president didn't know a thing about government and that he wanted to scold Trump. The president responded overnight on Twitter, calling Ryan a, quote, atrocious person and a lame duck failure.
Now, this comes as the president is scheduled to make a trip to Wisconsin today. He'll be in Milwaukee for a fundraiser. It is his second trip to the Badger State this year, and it comes as he's taken executive action to require agencies to hand over citizenship information to the Department of Commerce. The president was previously in Green Bay in April.
The president's visit comes just one day after a handful of Democratic presidential candidates made an appearance at a town hall in Milwaukee. Julian Castro, Beto O'Rourke, Elizabeth Warren, and Bernie Sanders all shared their thoughts on the current crisis at the border and what they would do about immigration. Wisconsin is expected to be a frequent stop for candidates in the next year ahead of the Democratic National Convention in Milwaukee next summer.
And our forecast today starts with a lot of sunshine. No clouds in southern Wisconsin. A little bit of cloud cover well off to the north. That cloud cover and the chance for rain comes into southern Wisconsin overnight tonight. Temperatures, though, are going to be very warm today, starting from the 60s this morning, climbing through the 70s into the middle 80s with a light southwest wind this afternoon.
Hattie, thank you. People along the Gulf Coast are bracing for Tropical Storm Barry, which is approaching the Louisiana coast this morning. Barry is expected to bring as much as 25 inches of rain this weekend. It could strengthen into the season's first hurricane. The Army Corps of Engineers believes levees will be able to contain the Mississippi River in New Orleans, but flooding remains a big concern.
Breaking overnight, singer R. Kelly once again is in jail, facing more sex crime charges. He was arrested last night after being indicted on more than a dozen new charges, including child pornography, enticement of a minor, and obstruction of justice. It's the second time this year he's been arrested.
ICE is scheduled to start up more raids this weekend. President Trump had originally called the raids off, but the operation is slated to start this Sunday. Here in Madison, city police officials have said they'll assist ICE in deportations for known criminals, as they've done in the past.
Madison Police Chief Mike Koval says he is cutting a quarter of officers in community engagement programs and moving them to traditional patrols next year. According to the chief's blog, the department is short 31 patrol officers, and the 12 officers being moved should help with that. The proposed 2020 city budget adds only one patrol officer, a detective, and a civilian employee.
Foreclosure rates in Wisconsin are at a near 20-year low this morning. That's one of the headlines from WPR. Economists at UW-Whitewater say that's because of stricter lending standards, high employment, and the fact that more people are renting. The decrease is mostly in wealthier areas. This year, there have been nearly 3,600 foreclosure filings in Wisconsin.
Breaking into the Channel 3000 Alert Center, the State Journal is reporting that Edgewood High School cannot use its newly installed football field and track to host games under city law. A city committee voted 4-0 to deny the high school's request to reconsider whether it would violate ordinance. That meeting last night took 5 hours and included upwards of 200 community members.
UW-Madison police are reminding you to lock your cars following a chase and a stolen car through campus this week. UW-Madison police arrested a 15-year-old driver and a 17-year-old passenger, and a third suspect is still on the loose this morning. The teens crashed on Roby Road Wednesday night west of Camp Rando. The two were eventually caught about a mile away from Babcock Drive on campus.
A heads up, if your weekend plans take you on the Beltline, westbound traffic is going to be limited to 2 lanes from Fish Hatchery Road to Seminole Highway. 1 lane is being shut down while crews continue their work on the bridge over Todd Drive. The DOT says you can expect delays during the day on both Saturday and Sunday. The ramp onto the westbound Beltline at Fish Hatch will be closed from 8 tonight until 6 Monday morning due to that work.
For the only Saturday this farmers market season, you won't be able to grab your hot and spicy cheese bread from here along the square. That's because the typical farmers market vendors are being swapped for artists from across America for this year's art fair on the square. Every year, the event draws nearly 200,000 people to the square, and it has been doing so for more than 60 years. Most art forms are represented, including ceramics, fiber arts, photography, sculpture, and jewelry, as well as the traditional paint and print media. The event is organized by the Madison Museum of Contemporary Art and serves as its primary fundraiser. You can see and buy the art from 9 until 6 o'clock tomorrow, and again on Sunday from 10 until 5.
Thank you very much, Christina. All right, over to Josh Tim now with a look at your first alert traffic on this Friday. Hi, Josh.
Good morning, guys. Still looking good on the Beltline. No major delays showing up yet in either direction at this point. A few brake lights are on inbound John Nolan near Rimrock and Olin Avenue as you make your way into the downtown Madison area. And other main routes, including the interstate heading into Madison, they're cruising along at the usual speeds right now with no major crashes or issues. For your first alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thank you, Josh. Have a great weekend.
And here's the view outside from the Edgewater Skycam. Nice to have that Skycam back in service. We have sunshine. Oh, it's kind of buggy this morning. I forgot about that little detail. Oh, the bugs probably love this hot and humid weather that's coming our way. Sunshine in the forecast today. High temperatures right around 85 degrees. Here's a look at that extended forecast. Whether you like it or not, the heat is headed in this direction. Highs will go into the 90s on Sunday and then stay there through all of next week. We have 8 alert days in the forecast. It's going to be very humid around here.
Oh my goodness. Thank you very much, Hattie.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Make it a fantastic Friday and a wonderful weekend. We'll see you back here on Monday.